resilient oil and gas sector is not measured only in barrels produced, but in lives protected and futures secured. A very good evening and welcome to TUC Half Hour, the program dedicated to telling worker stories and shaping labor conversations nationwide, proudly powered by the Trade Union Congress of Nigeria. I am your host, Judith Truss, and I want to thank you for joining us today. On the program today, we take you inside day one of the PENGASSAN Energy and Labour Summit 2025. The Petroleum and Natural Gas Senior Staff Association of Nigeria, PENGASSAN, opened the fourth edition of its Energy and Labour Summit, PEALS 2025. The three-day summit held at Transcorp Hilton in Abuja drew ministers, regulators, industry executives, international partners, and labor leaders to discuss urgent priorities for the oil and gas sector, health and safety, ESG, investment, and incremental production. Day one featured a strong welcome address from PENGASSAN President Comrade Festus Osifo, followed by keynote speeches from the Group Chief Executive Officer of NNPC Limited, the Executive Secretary of PTDF, the Minister of State for Petroleum Resources Oil, the Minister of Labour and Employment, and industry leaders from ExxonMobil and Oando. Let's take a look at the highlights from day one of the summit.
President of PENGASSAN, Comrade Engineer Festus Osifo, on behalf of the National Executive Council members and staff, extend heartfelt gratitude to everyone who made the 4th PENGASSAN Energy and Labour Summit PEALS 2025 a resounding success. For 3 inspiring days in Abuja, we listened, we shared, and together we charted a bold new course for Nigeria's oil and gas industry. We thank our distinguished guest, the Senator Heineken Lupobiri, Honorable Minister of State for Petroleum Resources Oil, Mr. Mohammed Dingyadi, Honorable Minister of Labour and Employment, Engineer Gbenga Komolafe, Commission Chief Executive of NUPRC, Engineer Bayo Julari, GCEO of NNPC Limited, Mr. Ahmed Galadima Aminu, Executive Secretary of PTDF, Mr. Jagir Baksi, Managing Director of ExxonMobil Nigeria, and Dr. Alex Enoje Iruni, Managing Director of Oando Energy and Natural Resources. Your presence honored the summit and strengthened our resolve. To our excellent speakers, our respected past leaders, and fellow affiliate presidents, we say thank you for your wisdom, sacrifice, and solidarity. We deeply appreciate our partners and sponsors, NNPC Limited, NUPRC, NMDPRA, Total Energies, Renes Africa Energy, Chevron, ExxonMobil, Oando, NLNG, PTDF, NCDMB, and NUIMS for making this year's summit possible. This year, we proudly celebrate the brilliance of Nigeria's secondary school students in the 4th National Essay Competition with over 3,000 entries nationwide. Their excellence gives us renewed hope for Nigeria's future. To the media who amplified our voice, and to every PENGASSAN member whose resilience and presence made this summit historic, we salute you. Together, we are building a resilient oil and gas sector. Together, we are empowering workers. Together, we are shaping Nigeria's future. Signed, Comrade Lumumba Okubawa.
Through the workers' blood shall run.
The 4th edition of the PENGASSAN Energy and Labour Summit, PEALS 2025, kicked off at the Congress Hall of Transcorp Hilton, Abuja, with the theme Building a Resilient Oil and Gas Sector in Nigeria, Advancing HSC, ESG, Investment, and Incremental Production.
Great PENGASSAN! Great PENGASSAN! Solidarity! Women.
The summit drew government ministers, union leaders, industry experts, and development partners to chart the future of Nigeria's oil and gas industry.
President of PENGASSAN, as he takes his welcome address.
The president of PENGASSAN, Comrade Festus Osifo, in his welcome address, set the tone for the gathering, stressing safety, sustainability, and accountability.
Our theme, building a resilient oil and gas sector in Nigeria,
advancing HSE, ESG, investment, and incremental production reflect urgent priorities for our industry and nation. The true measure of stewardship is ensuring every worker return home safely. Unsafe conditions must never be the price for resilience. From the creeks to offshore platforms, every worker deserves a secure environment, robust safety process, continuous training, advanced technologies, and transparent reporting. Protecting our rivers, land, and air is non-negotiable. Gas flaring must end. Polluted sites must be restored. Accountability must be enforced for today and for generations to come. Sadly, some platforms remain unsafe, and with operators cutting corners at the expense of our lives. Comrades, if you look at this is a particular oil and gas installation in Nigeria. You could see the boat coming close to the platform. You could see how materials are being removed from the boat. This thing happened in 2025. If you see this boat coming close to the platform, we have human beings doing the job of a crane. We have human beings, look at them. They are dragging out those items from the boat. So just imagine, this is happening in some of the oil and gas installations that we have in Nigeria. This is truly an aberration. Yes, it's an isolated case, but imagine the cost to human lives. So imagine as they are drawing that particular rope upward and they now fall into the waterway. They are gone. Life is truly precious. When we raised this, we shouted, and at the end, there was no proper response from the management of this field. Then the people there went on strike. So the challenge is that we as trade unions, we are not quite happy to go on strike. The effort it takes to go on strike is enormous. But when you have installations like these that are not safe, it is really and extremely problematic.
Delivering the first keynote, the Group Chief Executive Officer of NNPC Limited, Mr. Bayo Bashir Ujulari, said resilience means people-centric leadership, zero-harm culture, and increased production despite challenges.
Resilience in the oil and gas is not optional. It is a national obligation and a national priority. At NNPC Limited, resilience means operational excellence, fiscal discipline, regulatory compliance, innovation to adapt to the way the world is moving, and above all, people-centric leadership. It also means building a culture of adaptability to changing technologies, climate realities, and investor expectation, as P has highlighted. Health, safety, environment, the bedrock of resilience. Safety is not ticking the box. It is a value we live by. We cannot talk about building resilience without placing safety at the heart of our operation. In an industry where one mistake can lead to environmental, reputational, and economic damage, our commitment must be absolute, and we should not, and I mean we should not, tolerate the examples that P showed us. We should focus on goal zero. Just accept that this should not happen, and by so doing, we'll be amazed that we can achieve what we plan to.
On workforce development, the Executive Secretary of the Petroleum Development Training Fund, Ahmed Galadima Aminu, highlighted PTDF's efforts in preparing Nigerians for the energy future through global training opportunities and upgraded institutions at home.
At the Petroleum Technology Development Fund, PTDF, our mandate is clear: to develop the human and institutional capacity needed to sustain Nigeria's oil and gas sector. Over the years, we have translated this mandate into tangible results. We have trained about 15,000 Nigerians through scholarships, both at home and abroad. We have produced more than 1,700 internationally certified welders who are now contributing to projects across Nigeria and beyond. We have upgraded facilities in 26 universities and established 214 ICT centers nationwide, ensuring that our institutions are equipped to deliver world-class education. I'm pleased to also inform you that we have just completed 5 additional upgrade projects in various educational institutions across the country, but we cannot rest on these achievements. The challenges ahead demand even greater innovation and collaboration.
Also speaking, the Minister of State for Petroleum Resources Oil, Senator Heineken Lukbobri, emphasized the government's target of raising production to 3 million barrels per day. He called for stronger partnerships with PENGASSAN and underscored training and retraining of workers as vital to sustaining growth.
When I became minister, as Double President earlier said, a few years ago, we're doing less than 1 million barrels. In fact, when I came, into office as minister, we're doing barely 1 million barrels. Today, we are doing about 1.8 million barrels per day. This is not, a success for one person. Success for the government, a success for the operators, a success for PENGASSAN that made it possible. But the workforce are the people who should take primarily the credit for the performance, in the sector. This is as a result of the professionalism, result of the dedication, the expertise, the innovation of great PENGASSAN members. And I want to enjoin you to please sustain it. Having, taken a couple of steps that were earlier highlighted by those who spoke before me, the reforms, the executive orders, we believe that we are experiencing, this growth trajectory. It is our collective obligation to ensure that we sustain it and improve on it. Our target is to do more than 2 million barrels a day. Already I'm getting queries from OPEC that we're already exceeding our OPEC quota by just a small percentage. And I've told them that no, we are not exceeding. The excess you see is condensate. It's not crude. And so that argument is there. And as the leader of OPEC delegation in Nigeria, when we go for OPEC meeting in November, we will explain better to them that we are a committed member of OPEC. We have no ambition to exceed the OPEC quota, but we also have ambition to increase our production so that we can meet both our local, domestic, regional, and global obligations.
The Minister of Labour and Employment, Muhammadu Dingyadi, urged stakeholders to advance HSC and ESG, reaffirming the ministry's commitment to workers' welfare and policy stability.
Let me say that this timely strategic summit is not just a meeting of minds, it is a call to action. It reflects our collective aspiration to reposition Nigeria's oil and gas sector as a beacon of stability, to reposition Nigeria's oil and gas sector and as the world transitions towards cleaner energy and more ethical investment practices, Nigeria must not only adapt, but also lead in this crusade. On labor imperatives, in energy resilience, it is no longer news that Nigeria's oil and gas sector remains the backbone of our economy, contributing over 80% of foreign exchange earnings and employing thousands of skilled professionals. Yet, resilience in this sector is not merely about infrastructure or investment. It is about people. It is about workforce that powers rigs, refineries, and research labs. It is about labor policies that protect, empower, and evolve with time. As Honorable Minister of Labor and Employment, I reaffirm our commitment to strengthening tripartite dialogue between government, labor unions, and employers.
From a private sector perspective, the Managing Director of ExxonMobil, Mr. Jagiri Baxi, highlighted how technology, confidence in demand, and incentives are crucial to sustaining production.
Nigeria's population is set to become the third largest country by 2050, requiring way more energy than we produce today. Our industry not only provides that energy, but we do the work of lifting people out of poverty. The work that we do will allow oil and natural gas to create a rapid electrification in this nation, to propel industry of all sorts. And therefore, the word resilience in today's theme connects for me the work that we get to do to generate incremental production as a noble cause, because it lifts millions of Nigerians into the middle class as we look forward. In 2024, we met and talked about business transformation and technologies. We also talked about divestment and theft. And I shared a perspective. On divestments, I shared that on the other side of that transaction is an investor, an entity, a buyer seeking to tap into the inherent growth potential of the business being acquired. Today, we are able to witness the power of those transactions that concluded last year.
On divestment and indigenous growth, the Chief Executive of Oando, Dr. Ainoje Alex Iruni, explained that local operators are stepping up with bold capacity and innovation.
We've seen generally 4 phases. In the early 2000s, where we saw the initial government-led or incentivized divestments, we saw the first phase of indigenous companies come to play in the upstream sector. And if we fast forward another 10 years, we saw that transform into an IOC voluntary led exit, where some of their assets that were performing or had marginal economics were then put on the market for indigenous companies to step up, therefore increasing their capacity not just to run the asset, but to improve their technical competence.
Today also featured the presentation of awards to sponsors including ExxonMobil, Oando, and NNPC Limited in recognition of their support to PENGASSAN initiatives.
And we present this award of special recognition to you.
A panel session on unlocking investment opportunities stressed the need for regulatory stability, in-country capacity, and coordinated security architecture.
To unlock something, there has to be intentional effort, by all actors in the same direction to open or to release or even to unleash something. For me, it's these 3 things. One, full implementation of the 2024 presidential directives. Number 2, regulatory stability. And then number 3, aligned partnerships. So if I just speak on one of those, I'll give a lot of kudos, immense appreciation to the steady progress that the federal government has demonstrated, particularly through the issuance of the presidential directives in 2024.
The day's proceedings ended with a vote of thanks from Comrade Dr. Ifeanyi Eze, National Industrial Relations Officer of PENGASSAN, who urged participants to carry forward the insights from the summit. On the sidelines, past presidents of PENGASSAN reflected on the progress of the association and the theme of resilience.
Building resilience, oil and gas sector in Nigeria, advancing HSC, ESG, investment and incremental production is apt because now in our national history, where we are struggling to meet our production quota and all. So bringing all our leaders in the industry to come together in these various spheres of HSE, ESG, investment, incremental production, and investors in the room, I think what the president said was able to be amplified by even the MD of ExxonMobil, that we need to work together, because we cannot make that incremental production if there is a dysfunction in the organization. What do I mean? If there is any dislocation to our activities, either by the union or even by whatever reason it is, we may not be able to get that incremental production. But if everybody is working together as a unit, irrespective of whatever you are, as a union or management, working as a team and as one, it is not about we versus them, but us and we as an entity. I am sure that we'll be able to achieve the incremental production in no time.
Certain pace, even in the oil industry, to see where we are going. Because all the time, it is not banging table, but how can the labor too improve the production level, and even with people and Nigeria as a whole. So we are in line with the government, and we are trying to carry along our own people to make sure that we are able to deliver the target even of the federal government.
PENGASSAN President, Comrade Festus Osifo, also weighed in on the meaning of resilience, both for workers and the industry.
Look at the topic for this year's PEALS. We are dovetailing much more into HSE. We are dovetailing much more into ESG, as well as incremental production. Because why are we looking at HSE? HSE, as we know, health, safety, and environment. We want to go to work and return back safely to our families. We want to go to work and come back home unhurt. Because if you see some of the trends that has happened in the industry today, we have some platforms that are not compliant to international standards. You could recall that sometime last year, some of our members died via helicopter crash. So we want to examine the overall safety in the oil and gas industry, because we've had, oil and gas industry is a specialized industry in the sense that we work in an environment that if anything goes wrong, it has the capability of crumbling thousands of lives. That is why if you go to an offshore environment where you could have 200, 300, 400 people in an installation, you have a lot of safety protocols and processes that you must pass through to ensure that some jobs, before you carry out some jobs. So if we in PENGASSAN, we have seen some lapses, so it's our responsibility to highlight those lapses, it's our responsibility to push them to the fore, so that at the end of the day, our members will be better off for it.
With day one concluded, PEALS 2025 has set the tone for 3 days of high-level engagement, aiming to reposition Nigeria's oil and gas industry as a driver of national prosperity and sustainability.
The president of PENGASSAN, Comrade Engineer Festus Osifo, on behalf of the National Executive Council members and staff, extend heartfelt gratitude to everyone who made the 4th PENGASSAN Energy and Labour Summit PEALS 2025 a resounding success. For 3 inspiring days in Abuja, we listened, we shared, and together we charted a bold new course for Nigeria's oil and gas industry. We thank our distinguished guest, the Senator Heineken Lupobiri, Honorable Minister of State for Petroleum Resources, Oil, Mr. Mohammed Dingyadi, Honorable Minister of Labour and Employment, Engineer Benga Komolafe, Commission Chief Executive of NUPRC, Engineer Bayo Julari, GCEO of NNPC Limited, Mr. Ahmed Galadima Aminu, Executive Secretary of PTDF, Mr. Jagir Baksi, Managing Director of ExxonMobil Nigeria, and Dr. Alex Enoje Iruni, Managing Director of Oando, Energy and Natural Resources. Your presence honored the summit and strengthened our resolve. To our excellent speakers, our respected past leaders, and fellow affiliate presidents, we say thank you for your wisdom, sacrifice, and solidarity. We deeply appreciate our partners and sponsors, NNPC Limited, NUPRC, NMDPRA, Total Energies, Renes Africa Energy, Chevron, ExxonMobil, Oando, NLNG, PTDF, NCDMB, and NUIMS for making this year's summit possible. This year, we proudly celebrate the brilliance of Nigeria's secondary school students in the 4th National Essay Competition with over 3,000 entries nationwide. Their excellence gives us renewed hope for Nigeria's future. To the media who amplified our voice, and to every PENGASSAN member whose resilience and presence made the summit historic, we salute you. Together, we are building a resilient oil and gas sector. Together, we are empowering workers. Together, we are shaping Nigeria's future. Signed, Comrade Lumumba Okubawa.
As we wrap up this episode, Day 1 of PEALS 2025 highlighted a bold message that resilience is built, not inherited. It is built through tough choices, collaboration, and a commitment to worker safety, environmental responsibility, and stable policies that attract investment. For labor, the message is equally powerful. When workers are secure, trained, and supported, productivity flows. As PENGASSAN and the Trade Union Congress continues to push this agenda, the goal is not just a stronger oil and gas sector, but a Nigeria where workers' lives and livelihoods are protected. That's it for today's edition of TUC Half Hour. Thank you so much for joining us. If you'd like to watch replays, join the conversation. You can follow TUC Half Hour on all social media platforms displayed on your screen. My name is Judith Trust. God bless Nigerian workers.